We're looking out at Des Moines, Iowa this morning, where we see the state capitol there sitting on the corner of your screen, the top right corner there, of course. But we do have the chance for thunderstorms around this area later on today. We're looking at Des Moines right here, center of Iowa on I-85 or on 80 and 35. We're looking at the chance for some of these thunderstorms that we see just to your west starting to build in. Let's put this on a loop over the last 30 minutes or so. We see some of those storms beginning to intensify. A little bit of lightning in there as well. So we might see some of those storms gaining some strength over the next half hour to couple of hours. Now, some of this area to the north, we do see a lot of lightning here in southern Minnesota and a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's just take a look over the last 10 minutes at how much lightning we've seen. Nearly 465 strikes just in the last 10 minutes again on this frame. So many of these thunderstorms have been producing some hail as well. Let's take a look at the local radar out of Minneapolis and we'll see some of the more detailed features of this. So heading into the Fairfax and Gibbon area right now, that's in Renville and Sibley County here in central Minnesota. That's a new severe thunderstorm warning that we haven't seen yet here on Weather Nation. So this is for up to 60-mile-per-hour winds and 3/4-inch hail. So that's about the size of a penny. So you don't really get damage from penny-sized hail. It's once you get up to about quarter size that you do see some of that damage. But the wind is one of the factors that we see with this. And we see just a little bit of broad rotation, nothing really significant with it, but still something that we have to keep an eye out for because we do have the risk for tornadoes today. Again, this is not looking like it's organized enough yet to warrant any concern for a tornado, but we do just have just a little bit of that inflow here moving towards that radar and outflow moving away from the radar. And that needs to be a lot more organized, closer together, some brighter colors in there for it to really indicate a strong mesocyclone that could lead to anything tornadic. So that is some good news, but still 60-mile-per-hour winds within that storm can do some damage. A little farther down the line here, let's take a look at the Sioux Falls radar. Looks like that storm has actually moved outside of the warning box. So let's just check and see if, there we go. We've got, all right, it just took it a minute for that warning to come in. But that new severe thunderstorm warning is for still 1-inch diameter hail and up to 50-mile-per-hour winds. So not a wind threat with this one. We can take a look at the Barron triple threat product here. And we see if we take a query here, 1-inch hail, estimated by Viper Radar, so it's doing a pretty good job at estimating what the size of that hail is within that storm. So if you're in this area here around the Hanska area, Medalia, up to Linden, LaSalle, you're right under that threat for the hail to be coming in shortly. Maybe just call in to work if you're on your way out the door and say, hey, got a severe thunderstorm, want to just wait for it to pass before getting out on the roads this morning. Looking at the national picture, though, we do have a lot of moisture across the Pacific Northwest. Let's take a look at that a little bit closer across parts of Utah, Idaho. We've got some rain showers and even some snow coming through at this morning. Looking down around the Salt Lake City area into those mountains just to your east and into the Uintas in northeastern Utah, we've got some snow falling this morning. And I want to bring in meteorologist Rob Bradley now to talk to us a little bit more about the Northwest snow.
I do want to get down to Acapulco, though, because we are watching Agatha, which just became a hurricane.
That's right. So we've got that first system that's named in the Eastern Pacific. We have yet to see the first system in the Atlantic side of things, but let's take a look at this information here. Like we said, we just got that confirmation that it is now a hurricane at 75 miles per hour there in the Eastern Pacific. So the loop over the last little bit, it's been the tropical storm. Now it is that hurricane, Category 1. Pressure is at 987 millibars. 1,013 millibars is your average standard sea level pressure. So it is getting deeper, of course. We do have hurricane warnings along the coast of Oaxaca, Mexico as well, into parts of Chiapas as well. So we'll see the potential for tropical storm warnings in this area from Salina Cruz down the coast. Now, strong winds is one factor, but also very heavy rainfall. As it crosses over some of the mountainous regions here of southern Mexico, we could see very, very heavy rain. Some places could see upwards of a foot of rainfall. And that's one of the things you always have to remember with hurricanes, or any tropical system for that matter, is you get a lot of very heavy moisture that comes in and you can have widespread flooding. Let's take a look at some of the forecast numbers here. We could see some places in this purple shaded region. That's upwards of 9 inches. The dark purple is upwards of a foot of of rainfall. Then it moves into the Bay of Campeche as well, and it might get some energy from the Gulf of Mexico. So we see we already have this low risk for further development within the next 5 days across the Gulf of Mexico. Hot water out there. We've got 81 degrees for some of those sea surface temperatures. That's enough that could energize this and possibly turn it into another system in the Gulf. Possibly, Alex, we'll see. Well, racing fans like me, it is the best day in racing season. We have Carmel, Indiana, around Indianapolis. The Indy 500 does run today. And then Charlotte, North Carolina, where the Coke 600 will be taking place up around the Concord area. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous day for racing in both of these locations. A lot of clear skies and mild to warm temperatures. So Indianapolis, right now we're already in the 70s, so it is going to be warming up here over the next several hours, of course, but a light breeze knocks off that bit of the heat off your skin. Taking a look through the forecast, I promise you I've got both the future radar and future wind or cloud cover on here, but it's staying mostly clear through the day. By race time, we're going to see very sunny skies, maybe a few clouds across parts of Kentucky into Illinois, but really a sunny day across Indiana. Looking at those highs, we're getting up to about 85 degrees, so it will be on the warm side. Of course, if you're sitting in the sun, you'll want to stay hydrated. It will feel a little bit warmer, especially there in the sunshine, but overall, it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous day across Indianapolis. Moving south across parts of Charlotte, we're looking at temperatures already getting into the 80s right now, so a little bit warmer here. Light wind, only around 3 miles an hour, but the humidity isn't terrible. Only dew points in the 60s or so, so that's not extremely high. We will see a bit more cloud cover here, so there might be a stray shower or two, but it shouldn't be too long, and it shouldn't really delay any of the race. We see through the afternoon into the overnight. Again, just a few light clouds coming through. High temperatures are only going to be in the 80s. Concord, of course, is where that race is held, a little bit closer outside of the Charlotte area, and it's still going to be in the upper 80s. So again, stay hydrated if you are going to be out there at those races. Taking a look at the satellite imagery, we do see that we've got around Indianapolis a little bit more moisture over there. Charlotte, it's very dry. Those orange colors, we're looking at very little content of water vapor in this area. So as we take a look at the national radar, there's not a whole lot going on in this area, but if we look across the upper Midwest, we do have some thunderstorms in this area. So just moving into the La Crosse area, we've had some thunderstorms approaching you. La Crosse, it doesn't look like we're going to see much in the way of heavy thunderstorms right now. If we take a look at the local radar and that lightning count, we've only seen about 100 or so within this frame over the last hour, or over the last 10 minutes here. So most of that moving into the Waterloo area, just outside of Waterloo, Iowa at least, and even we've seen some thunderstorms around Des Moines as well. So if we can take a look at that, we see around Ames, where the University of Iowa is up there, we don't see a whole lot of lightning, only about 10 strikes or so, so really not all that intense, just some light thunder showers moving through. Off towards northern Minnesota, though, we have had a severe thunderstorm warning that we've been tracking over the last little bit. This does have more intense lightning with it. Notice we've got about 320 or so lightning strikes just within the last 10 minutes. So this is moving into the Lake of the Woods county there in northern Minnesota. So we might see up to 1-inch diameter hail, maybe 50, 60 mile per hour winds at best. It's not going to be an extremely high risk thunderstorm, but we could still see some of that as well. As we take a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for the day, though, we do have the chance for some strong storms across this part of the United States in the northern plains and into the upper Midwest as well. But it's not just today. The next several days, Sioux Falls, you're going to be under that chance for severe weather. We're taking a look at you now with those waters definitely running from all of the rain that we saw earlier this morning.
Yeah, I can imagine the falls going a little bit high. Looks like some folks out there are getting a nice view of it, but you can see the runoff has increased. The color of the water, a little bit more brown, usually occurs when the sediment increases, when the flow increases in area rivers. You get more of that kind of brown, muddy look.